What's going on YouTube? My name is CymenSniped and welcome to the channel. PvP is finally here in Nikke and yeah, it's a little bit underwhelming. Nevertheless, I'm not gonna be complaining if it finally allows me to farm the currency needed for the arena shop. So let me run you through what PvP has to offer really quickly and also share you my own strategies for PvP team building. The PvP mode in Nikke is quite a far cry from its usual content. You are given 3 entries for free daily, and after that, if you'd like to continue more, you'll have to purchase the arena tokens for additional entries. When the battle starts, rather than moving your cursor around trying to hit stuff, the game goes on full auto mode and pits 5 stationary Nikkes against the enemy's 5 stationary Nikkes. Each time you win a battle, you gain commander points, which raises you in rank, and if you lose, you also decrease in points. The people you get to choose to fight are those that have similar amount of commander points, and since it's very early post-launch, you'll sometimes find weirdly low combat power enemies that you can abuse. Now, it's important to at least clear your daily arenas because regardless if you're losing or winning, as long as you are ranked somewhere, the game gives you a certain amount of arena exchange vouchers every single day. The bare minimum, as long as you are ranked, yields 940 daily, and every 2 weeks when season refreshes, you'll get a minimum of 9.9 thousand. The higher your rank is, obviously, the more arena exchange vouchers you get. With these vouchers, you can then trade them for the SSR grade code manuals, which you need for higher rank skill level ups. Ignore the gears that the game recommends you to buy, because I have no idea if brains were involved when they actually decided to put the thumbs up button on these pieces of gears. If you want to let the devs hear this, hit the like button so they can really smash this video hard into their face. Moving on to the part where you're probably here for, let's begin talking about the team building. After playing this for a few days and observing the mechanics, I need to first put this out there. I may be wrong. So if you have any feedback or better suggestions, or would just like to correct me, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. To understand my team building concept, you need to first know the ironclad rules that PvP abides by. Number 1, the AI is programmed to start with attacking at seemingly random targets the moment the round begins, with a higher tendency of starting with the rightmost Nikke. Number 2, it will then switch targets if the enemy gets back into cover for a reload or when it dies, after which your Nikke will then rescan who is the first available that isn't in cover reloading. Number 3, if your Nikke is activating a certain skill which targets an enemy with a specific conditions, for example, attack the enemy unit with the highest defense, or etc., it will then switch over to the specific target. Number 4, if the target is in cover, it will stick to it until it resurfaces, and when it backs off to reload, your Nikke will then switch targets to another one once again. One more that really isn't part of the rules, but just an honorable mention, is that because of how fast-paced a single round actually is, 99% of your PvP engagements usually ends with 1 cycle of burst ultimate skill activation at best. So our team building will assume that once your entire team triggers 1 cycle of burst ultimate skills from burst 1 to burst 3, the fight is almost over. To also make it easy to understand, I'll call the positions 1 to 5 from left to right. Or, for the opponent's case, it's going to be mirrored, so it's 1 to 5 from right to left. Seeing how the beginning is actually randomly targeted, let's focus mainly on the sequence of your burst activation and the level of failsafes you want to put in place. In position 1 and 2, although have the highest chance of being targeted first, you still want to put your best DPS buffers or healers in these positions. Now, the idea is to either keep everyone alive long enough to activate burst 3 and or buff up so that you can burst your enemies down. Having 2 burst 1s in the team generally also serves as an insurance in case position 1 dies before you can trigger the burst phase. A few pretty good examples for burst 1 units that you really good in PvP, at least in the current meta, is people like Noise, Miranda, Volume, Pepper, Ludmilla, and etc. For position 3, you'll want to have either your best AoE carry DPS or single target carry DPS. Why, you ask? Well, because you will not have the time to go into another burst phase for your burst 3 units to go at it again. This will be your first win condition. Some recommended burst 3 units would be Scarlet, obviously, Haran, Double, obviously, and Privity, Laplace, and Yoha. Privity is really good because her ultimate also does 3-second stun. Any form of CC in PvP is always welcome. I'm going to combine position 4 and 5 because they serve the same purpose, but if you have not, please remember to include your burst 2 unit in either of these slots. You have 2 ways to approach these final 2 slots. Either you make them your burst 1 and 2's insurance, or you use them as an additional DPS based on their basic attack. Using them as your burst 1 and 2 insurance is really simple. Just bring in the burst 1 and 2 just in case the one in position 1 and 2 is compromised. If you're confident you do not need a backup for burst 1 and 2, you'll want to use these final 2 slots as your secondary DPS. At the beginning of this, I did mention that most fights don't last past the first burst cycle, and that's why you only want to rely on these for their basic attacks. Your best bet would be any Nikke regardless of the burst that uses rocket launcher or shotgun type weapons due to their AoE properties. Sniper rifles comes next, and finally assault rifles, machine guns, and SMGs. A really good example of a great Nikke to use is like Yen. She is a rocket launcher and can act as a stand-in for your other burst ones. Now, to reward you for staying until this point of the video, to also end it, here are a few tips that isn't really part of team building. Whether or not you win games, you have to understand that power level and team comms are two sides of the same scale. One can compensate for the other, so there are times where you suffer an unexpected loss against something with a much lower power level. Just learn from your mistakes and just carry on. Sometimes it's really just a team composition, and sometimes it's really just RNG. One more for you to take home is that heals and barriers are extremely useful in PvP, and the reason for that is due to how often target switches because of the mechanism. The strongest one by far is Noise, Pepper, and Noah, which deals a ton of healing, but do not discredit any other healers that I did not mention. My Emma clutched so many heals, so many times, and so many occasions. With that, we have arrived at the end of the video, so like usual, if you have any comments or any tips you'd like to share, please leave them in the comment section below, and until the next video or stream, I will see you guys again soon. Bye.